Some of you are unfamiliar with, well, this is an Old Testament story from a Dori etching, a famous etching, where they're bringing their babies and sacrificing them on the altar of Moloch. This is a true Old Testament story. Yeah, it happened. But my t-shirt, this is the original Planned Parenthood. Welcome to Doug in Exile, guys. You guys ready for a good time today? I ran 3 miles at my church with my pastor. My pastor is Dr. George Grant. We're going to get into church at the end of the scene. I was going, no, is this going to be about church again? No. It's about part of the American movement, what Charlie Kirk is doing, including spreading around the world. But Charlie Kirk was coming to Nashville to speak next week. And my pastor, Dr. George Grant, was going to speak with him at this event. They were also, both he and Charlie Kirk were scheduled to speak again in 2 weeks in Washington, D.C. My pastor, Dr. George Grant, is really big and I just love him. He is a man that I respect. But first, I got so much news to cover today. I can't even talk about how cool you guys are. I read you guys in the comments. I have a nice audience. I've had audiences before in video games, comic books, even on YouTube. They're nothing like you guys. I read your comments. You're incredible. Nice, kind, complimentary. And even the ones that complain about my plain door back there, they say, hey, get it? I'll pin up an American flag. I didn't want to even do one before because I'm like, I get it. Everyone puts their little American flag up there. It almost feels disrespectful. I know, but I will put one back there. So you guys will shut up about the door. Okay, we're going to go. Look, England. Let's go. Guys, this is a worldwide event here. Millions have turned up for our Unite the Kingdom event. This is the biggest protest in British history in the name, part of it, in Charlie Kirk's memory. Watch this, guys. This is the streets. There's a cross. I'm covering it here. Let me get out of the way. That's a cross, guys, in like atheistic England. Charlie Kirk picture. Union Jack. Charlie. I like the lion costume down there with a crown that I'm covering again. Let me move over here. See him down there on the left? Guys, this is the UK. God is not dead. He's not done with our countries yet. And if you can do this in the UK, guys, you're not going to believe this footage. Okay. And people can't believe it because, the English, that Pink Floyd song, it's not the English way, to get all emotional, to protest. They always have their little tea, don't spill my tea, and their crumpet and their blood pudding, and but a snuff box and a powdered wig and a beauty mark. And, this is like proper England, don't turn your back to the Queen and all that protocol. Manners. People can't believe it. This is Eva. She's over there. I'm in London. There are 3 million people on the streets. It's mind-blowing, guys. She says, this is a revolution. Look at this. This is what happens when you allow a bunch of other Muslims and illegal aliens from other countries come and sexually abuse your daughters and then not allow it to go to courts and not allow the police to report it. This is what happens. This is a giant. Wait till you see this footage. You want to see what 3 million people looks like? It almost brought tears to my eyes because I have a friend. I just met with him for lunch. He's from UK. And he said, Doug, you don't understand. There is a revival breaking out. There is a turning point, UK, by the way. Charlie Kirk's thing, there's a UK division. They need some help. They need to grow still. But I listened to the Unbelievable podcast with Justin Brierley, and it's an apologetics podcast I've listened to for 10 years. And they're saying like the youth are lost. They want church. They want to come back to something bigger. Look at these streets. Official police reports indicate that in excess of 3 million patriots are on the streets of London. Whose streets? Our streets. Britain is wide awake. Look at this. Look at this crowd, guys. This keeps going. This is what 3 million people go for. And I'm sorry, Brits don't protest. They don't take to the streets. It's go along to get along. We are subjects. We serve a throne. Everyone, don't be dramatic. Don't show emotions. That's done. These people are taking their country back. I hope Parliament is watching. I hope the throne is watching and going, who represents these people? These people. There's not a Palestinian flag in here, guys. These people. You know, the Tories and the Conservatives and the Labour Party, they were so flaccid, such terrible political organizations, even their conservatives, just flaccid. They're like the American Rhino Party, you know. But the people, these are conservative, and I don't mean just pro-natural law, pro-Bible. They're just saying, you know, we love our country. We love our family. We want things. Things have gone too far to the left, and we're done. We're done. You activate these people, you get them voting, activating. You're not going to have a Muslim mayor anymore. The number one name of your birth children in London is not going to be Muhammad anymore, which it is. These people, that is amazing footage, drone footage. Keeps going. We're going to keep going. 3 million people. Here, I'll scrub ahead for the rest of it. Look at that. It just keep, look at, good Lord, dude. Oh, there's a whole spill over here on the right. Look at that. Guys, things are changing. You know, populism and the people not being heard. I always say this, it's not just an American thing. You know, there are patriots born in other countries, and those are the ones in the UK. There are patriots. A patriot is not just an American thing. Remember the truckers' protest in Canada? There are patriots. I know hardcore Christians, hardcore conservatives in Canada, in Mexico. You see them in the Dutch protests of the farmers, and they're taken to the streets just going, our government's failing us. That's what Trump represents. I don't judge Britain by a different standard. I judge America. It's America said, our system, we failed the system. We failed the Constitution. It's not working. Our government's not working. And that's why we elected Trump twice. The first time we said, go fix it, drain the swamp. And the swamp was in the Trump administration. They tried to destroy him. And then now when Trump comes back, 4 years in exile he spent, 4 years out of power. And he said, this time it's going to be different. We're cutting our gloves off. We're going to make a mess. We're going to drain the swamp. The corruption is far worse than we think, guys. And you have an uphill battle to London and America. America has an uphill battle. But I stand with the patriots in the UK. I stand with the patriots around the world. We're fighting this. We're all fighting the Marxist, multiculturalism, postmodern, the influence in all of our countries. It came from right around the late 1800s, post-Darwin, late 1800s, early 1900s. Writers like Derrida, Wittgenstein, Rousseau, Sartre, they were, you know, postmodern relativists came in and said words don't have fixed meaning. C.S. Lewis wrote about it in Men Without Chests. G.K. Chesterton wrote about it in Orthodoxy. Tolkien wrote about it when he was writing about Saruman, addicted to power, using technology, and joining Sauron. It's been written about for years, but it's coming to a head. Leftism has got way out beyond their skis. Here's Stephen Miller on the pushback.
Trying to do. They are trying to inspire someone to murder them. That is their objective. That is their intent. And when you see online, Sean, as we've seen for the last few days, tape after tape after tape of federal workers, bureaucrats, staffers in the Pentagon, educators, professors, healthcare workers, nurses, celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk, these are radicalized people. There is a domestic terrorism movement in this country.
There is. It's actually what Biden said about us and MAGA, that we're domestic terrorists. But that was the Democrats projecting and protecting their own. They're always guilty of what they accuse you of, 10 times worse. They are the domestic terrorist movement. I don't mean mainstream Democrats. I mean the leftist lunatics. But they're far more of the Democrat Party. They're kind of what's left of the Democrat Party because everyone else is like going, I hate this party. I'm not in it anymore. But he's calling it out. Listen to what he said. They're nurses. There are teachers. He said they're in our Pentagon. I'm not going to go and condemn London for being a leftist hellhole or Canada for being a socialist hellhole, or France, or Germany. Well, I'll always criticize Germany. But America has problems. It's in our institutions. People who celebrate Charlie Kirk's death are all over our institutions. We're corrupt. We're wicked. These people have to be rooted out, and fired. You cannot hire these people. There was people who were like, we're on a suicide hotline. They were the ones that run the phones, and the lady got fired because she made fun of Charlie Kirk. If you're about to kill yourself, do you want to call that person the kind of person who celebrates Charlie Kirk's assassination? I'm sorry. There's a line drawn. You're nuts. Charlie Kirk is even different than celebrating, say, the assassination attempt on Trump. Trump is a political figure, and I don't support it. I'm not saying it's moral, but Charlie Kirk was a civilian. To demonize a normal family man civilian, father of two, Christian, this was not an Alex Jones bomb thrower. No vial could be found in Charlie Kirk's mouth, okay? That's what exposed the radicals. It's not that they would shoot at a political opponent like Trump. It's that they would shoot at Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is us. I'm not the president of the United States, but Charlie Kirk is not a governor. He's a civilian doing incredible political work. They went after him. It's in our institutions. How bad? This bad. Breonna Morello, shocking. FBI agents, oh man, this is going to make you guys sick. You know, Kash Patel was embarrassed over finding the shooter big time because they caught one guy on the ground, then they released him. Wrong guy. They caught another guy, released him. That wasn't the guy. And everyone started saying, hey, this is unprofessional, you know, Kash. You don't go and you capture someone and ruin their reputation and then release them, ruin their reputation for life. There will be lawsuits against the FBI because of that. It's true. And maybe they have something coming. You can't do that. You can't just go and pick someone out and go, we think it's this guy, and ruin their reputation. Usually these accusations and these people are rounded up privately and in secret, okay, to protect their identity because there's an assumption of innocence in America. Now you know. FBI agents delayed showing a photo of the Charlie Kirk assassin suspect to their boss, director Kash Patel, for 12 hours. They had a picture of Tyler Robinson and wouldn't show it to him. That's an enemy within. That's what I mean by there are leftists inside dragging their feet that 12 hours. They could have gotten him 12 hours earlier. They didn't show it to their boss. Why in the world would you not show that to your boss? This is according to the New York Times. An online Thursday morning meeting with about 200 agents, okay? Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino sharply criticized the agents, with Patel stating he would not tolerate further Mickey Mouse operations. That's in his own FBI. I'm the head of a Mickey Mouse operation. That's how bad it is, guys. We're not ready for what we must do to stay frosty. Now, this one's going to talk about we're going to do the proper use of the word shut up. Here's Rep. Derek Van Orden, Republican, Wisconsin, rightly tells legacy media a little something, something. Let's watch here, okay? Watch how media, this is going to be very quick.
Every one of you're complicit in the attempted assassination of Donald Trump twice. You bear, just be quiet.
Just be quiet. The press interrupted him as he's chastising the press, saying they're part of the assassination attempt on Trump. Wait, there's more. I got an even better use of shut up, because this Konstantin Kisin, if you guys are not familiar with him, he's a brilliant debater. This is him on the Piers Morgan show. He's in the lower right, so I'm covering him. Konstantin Kisin, you know, this is an I've seen him debate in Oxford. He's an Oxford level debater. And we don't break the rules, Lovey, and use the word shut up in this house. Excuse me, and you pull out your little handkerchief, you know, and wipe the sweat off your brow. The Buckley, we don't use the word shut up in proper dialogue. Here's Constantine, full on.
Constantine, your response to that?
I have to agree with Lewis. He is living in a different reality, one that has no connection to actual reality.
What's wrong?
What are you talking
what's
about?
Incorrect about what I've just said.
You're comparing somebody saying "fight like hell" in the context of a political campaign,
in the context of a
with
lie
what
where
I
you try to
explained
overturn
earlier.
a democratic
Lewis,
election.
can I
That's
speak
the
now?
definition of
Are you
far-right
capable
behaviour.
of listening to an alternative point of view, or do you have to shout down? Well,
nonsense.
shut up then. Shut up and listen if you're capable of it.
Yeah. That's a very rare moment, but it is also sometimes appropriate. And I think of Constantine as one of the greatest debaters with the greatest manners and most articulate speaking and vocabulary. There is a time when someone's interrupting you just to say, shut up. Can you shut up? Look at this sneering squirrel. What a lizard. This is what it's like. I'm in debates right now. I made the big mistake of opening up Facebook. What a dummy. Why would I ever go on that rat nest? But you know, I've been on Facebook since 2007. And Facebook used to be a place for family and friends. And I'm an artist, so half my friends are animators. That means half my friends are raging lunatic liberals. I can't even say anything on Facebook without having a bunch of imbeciles doing this. This is supposed to be rhetoric. They just copy and paste. They're not open to anything outside of their purview. If you're still a leftist after the Charlie Kirk thing, you're a zombie.
Now, you can't compare somebody saying fight like hell in the context of a political campaign with what I explained earlier, which is when you call people Nazis.
The campaign was over.
Shut up and listen to an alternative opinion. Why is it that you people have a complete inability to listen to opinions that you don't like? Why can't you just sit there and actually hear what I'm saying?
I'm waiting.
You can't oh my God. You can't compare somebody saying fight like hell with somebody explaining that the country is an imminent threat of a fascist takeover, because an imminent threat of a fascist takeover is something that would actually legitimize.
I'm going to help give you guys some tools here and break down this argument for you. Your friends right now, all the Democrats are programmed to respond and say, well, Trump said fight, fight, fight. And that is violent rhetoric. And so he's just as bad as the entire left for 4 years saying that Trump is an eminent fascist threat. There is no moral equivalence. This is an apples and oranges argument. They're trying to say that Trump is apples, what Trump has said in saying fight, 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 and the Democrats are apples when they say that he's a Nazi and an imminent threat to the country, to women, to democracy. It's not the same. It is not morally equivalent. It is apples to oranges. And all of the Democrats are posting all over social media right now saying, don't pearl clutch about the left's violent rhetoric. How dare you? How dare you? You guys are worse. You guys are worse. Nowhere near as worse. Our lunatics are not throughout every institution, teaching institution. Anyways, I just want to break down that argument. It's important for you guys to memorize these arguments. That's what Charlie Kirk did. You don't have to memorize every argument. You have to memorize one argument at a time. And this is the argument going around today, which is a moral equivalent saying that the left's rhetoric that caused that shooter, if it did indeed cause the shooter, is as bad as the Republicans have done. Okay?
Picking up a rifle and heading to the front line. So when you and Cenk and people like that call people you don't like far right, hard right, Nazis, and fascists, you are creating an environment in which some crazy people, yes, of course they're crazy, will feel that they're entitled to use violence to prevent the fake fascist takeover you keep banging on about. And there is no equivalence between these things. I disagree, by the way. Cenk is entitled to criticize Charlie Kirk and his positions on the show. That's absolutely fine. But when you label and smear people as fascists and Nazis, that is taking it to an entirely different level. And that is where I hope there would be some self-reflection, but I'm not seeing any on this panel tonight.
Now, he talks about some self-reflection, and he's putting it on that Democrat. There will be no self-reflection from a Democrat. He said, you know what, if you use the word Nazi and fascist enough, some nut is going to act on it. Now, the thing is, there's more nuts in the Democrat side who would shoot someone than on the Republican side who would shoot someone. That's my sense. But he said, I hope there can be some self-reflection on your side. And I want to demonstrate something for you guys. I never want someone else. I never expect someone else to self-reflect more than I self-reflect. That's a principle all throughout the Bible. Take the plank out of your own eye before you go and remove the speck of dust from someone else. Always yourself. Always apply your highest standard on yourself, your highest standard of judgment on yourself, your highest accusation on yourself. It must be you first before you can demonstrate that you're honest enough and trustworthy enough to put that judgment on someone else. You're not an expert if you haven't put it on yourself first. So I'm going to demonstrate right now. He says, I hope you'll self-reflect and weigh on this, because I have called Democrats in swimming in their pool in an act of revenge. I go, oh, they're saying that you can call someone a Nazi and a fascist. So I have regularly called them Nazis and fascists as a point of irony, I have to clarify that. And if he's saying we ought to reflect on what words we use, I'm not ready to make the commitment yet that I won't call them Nazis and fascists because it's too funny. It's too funny. I don't want anyone to go and shoot them like a real Nazi or a real fascist. Because if someone really is a Nazi, it is time to pick up arms, right? I have to clarify that. So I will be way more careful, even in throwing the joke around when I say things like, Kamala Harris is Hitler in. Okay, we got to be careful. I have to always clarify that that's a joke. And again, I'm going to try to help break this stuff down for you guys. You're going to get smarter and wiser, and you're going to have a better foundation under you as a patriot. I'm here to turn you into proper patriots and warriors with a foundation of God, us, that we build our house on. So when the storm blows, our house doesn't blow away, and on a few political factoid arguments that we can arm ourselves with and clearly present it to the other side so that you don't have to wonder going, am I on the right side? Am I doing it right? We're going to do that together. I'm Doug, in exile.